yeah, just a quick little test walkthrough of the pedalboard situation here. Visually, I have it basically broken up into a few different blocks. Some are individual effects and some are multiple effects. We have the Mu-Tron, just the Micro-tron 4 up there, envelope filter, followed by delay, which is the Volante. And this is a preamp delay, kind of intentionally for some of that, just for that sound, because I'll do post-amp delays from the Beebo up there. Next block is the mod, which is 2 pedals. It's this Ibanez, come on, focus, bimode chorus, which I really like. And then the sort of unique, the Roxanne, which is a essentially an electric, original electric mistress circuit built by Longamp in a clon style enclosure, which we decided to call the Roxanne instead of the Roxanne, which is his sort of standard offering in a regular pedal enclosure. That was just a fun thing we made. Next up is the drive block, which is a series of super overdrive into the Soldano SLO pedal, and then going to the decimator, just the noise gate, just because when these two are on, it's pretty noisy. Then let's see, so that's our drive block, and then we have our amp block, which is really just these 2 pedals. So it's the Maiden BF from Kingsley, which is like, basically their blackface preamp circuit. It sounds great. It has a lot of output. It'll drive a power amp or whatever. That's feeding into the Page DS, also from Kingsley, which is sort of like the overdrive channel on the Dumble. So it's the preamp, cascaded into that, as opposed to having a drive, boosting into the preamp. It's it's like sort of like a second channel. So that's there in that amp block. Then we have cab, which is just the 2 notes, the cab M plus, with some impulses, mainly these Fender Dual Showman D130s, but that I like a lot for the sort of the Jerry Garcia kind of thing. But I've got 412s in there of different varieties for heavier, more scoop tones. Anyway, so that's all of those. That goes out into the Cali 76 compressor, which is sort of always on. Really just to kind of like level out things a bit between the different levels of drive and stuff. But I can tweak it if we want to get a more squishy thing or whatever, or just take it out. And then that feeds directly mono into the Poly FX Beebo, which then goes out stereo out of a single TRS cable. Right now I'm just using this dual mod delay preset that they have, which is pretty cool, and you can toggle off and on the delay, and it's just sort of a nice gentle verb. So if I'm not running some other crazy effect, I might just have that on with the delays turned off, just for a little room sound. And then otherwise there's just there's a Ernie Ball volume pedal and a Boss tuner, and then the Klon next to it, and that those 3 are before. Basically goes volume pedal, the tuner out goes to the tuner, the main out goes to the Klon, and then the Klon feeds the input of the looper, which is this what is a Moore looper. Yeah, it's really simple. It doesn't have any MIDI or anything, but 6 loops. It has a buffer at the front and at the back if you want them. I don't really need it with all the buffered bypass pedals that are going on here. I also have around the back below here, which you can't really see, but that's the guitar jack plugging into a JHS little black buffer. So that's actually the first thing it hits, and then that feeds into the volume pedal, and it goes from there. Let's do a little, see if I can hold the phone while testing any of this, but well, I can't really play and hold this at the same time, but that's what we're hearing is really just the the Maiden preamp, and then the cab M, which also has a power amp simulator in there, which is I'm making use of that, because that definitely adds a little something to this. And then very little bit from the compressor when it's plucked hard, and then we're getting just the verb from the Beebo, although we can try turning on the delay too. Is that foot switch, or there we go, some stereo delays. We could turn on the page for the sort of lead sound. Turn up the delay. Let's see if I can balance this for 2 seconds. No, I can't. And then if we want to engage, let's see. We got the, that's the Volante. Let's add a little spring to that. And let's go crazy. Let's add the chorus. Forgo that in favor of the that's kind of got the, you know, sort of the police thing going on. And then let's turn on the freaking crazy drive. So that's kicking in the Soldano distortion, which, you know, I run into the Maiden. The Maiden is essentially set very clean and really takes that pedal nicely. And then I'm boosting into the Soldano with a super overdrive because that really, to my ear at least, cleans up the bottom end. You know, just makes it a little less flubby, and I can get more. Sorry, I'm trying to pick with my fingers while holding the camera. This is without the super overdrive. It cleans up the low end, adds a little, you know, little bite, a little sizzle, which I like, rather than adding just more gain on the Soldano. You know, you can get into that sort of square-waved clipping where you kind of lose the overtones of the guitar, and it just gets more into fuzz territory, but this sort of keeps it, I don't know, harmonically interesting to my ear. Anyway, that's sort of the layout. I'll probably do another thing just with some Beebo presets soon, but I'm still getting to know this little guy. But yeah, so that's sort of the amp and effects and everything, and on a board. There's my foot for reference. It's quite large, but it does fit in. This is the Pedal Train, Classic Pro board. So it's like 32 by 16 and has, like, you know, 5 rails. I have 2 power supplies mounted underneath, which you can't really see. There's a True Tone 1-spot Pro down there that has mostly 9-volt outputs and an 18-volt output. And on the other side underneath somewhere there is a Chalks DC7, which has a lot more power and, you know, does 9, 12, 15, and 18 switchable on every output. Because some of these need, you know, a lot of these need 500 milliamps, like the Kingsley pedals need 500 milliamps. This Radial, oh yeah, I forgot the Tone Bone, the Tone Bone Hot British, which has a really noisy tube in it right now, which I may have to change out because it's almost unusably noisy. I do love the sound of this pedal. I've had it forever. But yeah, that needs 15 volts, 400 milliamps, so that's also getting fed from the Chalks. And yeah, and then the cab amp I think is a 12-volt supply, and I'm running 18 volts into the Cali 76, so that has extra headroom because the output from the amp block from the Maiden and the Page is really hot. I actually have the 2 notes in speaker input mode, like a -20 dB input, just so that I can run these at the levels where they sound the best. So yeah, that's padded way down going into there, and it's still, you know, nearly clipping, and that comes out really hot into the Cali 76. Anyway, that's the tour.